care. Feel the breezes lifting us high, we're chasing the waves, touching the sky. Together we rise, no looking back. This summer vibe is on the right track. Summer vibes, we're feeling the heat, dancing all night to the ocean beat. Under the stars, we're never alone.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. Today, as you can tell by the title, we are doing a random number generator, fix my pages for the week. However, I thought random number generators in general have been done so much, so what other way can I do this? What spin can I put on this? And as you can see on the screen here, I just texted my family saying, give me a random number between 100 or give me a random number up to 300, thinking they could go for anything. Now, I didn't tell them what it was for, and so I got a few replies after going why. So my mum, my dad, my grandma, my brother and his girlfriend all picked a number for me, and those are the numbers that I'm just going to try and read the pages of this week. I thought it's best not to tell them why, because then my brother would like deliberately pick a high number, or someone might deliberately pick a low number to try and be nice. I just thought, right, pick random numbers and we'll see what we do. And so yeah, I am, as I'm filming this intro, I'm on day 2, so let's see how the week goes. I'm going to do it in the order of what it states, so that also adds another challenge on, because when I sent that, obviously they sent back through the order, we didn't know what we were doing per day. I do now know what we're doing, and I'm hoping I can make it work in terms of get the numbers done, but we'll see. It's a challenge. I am not going to limit myself to those numbers. However, a lot of the numbers are quite high, and so like yesterday I had 123 pages to read, and I literally just about managed that. So yeah, we shall see how it goes, but let's get into the challenge. Morning guys, it's day 1 of the random number generator challenge, and this morning my dad chose our number, and our number today is 123, so that will mean that I need to finish off Me Before You, as I have 60 pages left of this one, and then I'm going to read the 63 pages of Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. So far I'm enjoying this book. I don't feel it is anything kind of phenomenal, but it is nice to see life after a big event that's happened, if you know what happens at the end of book 1. Obviously I can't really talk too much about this one because it is a connected series, whereas Yours Truly obviously is interconnected standalone, so I can give a lot more thoughts on that one. But let me go and finish this one off, and then I will come back to you with an update on this one, and then we can get started on Yours Truly. Hi guys, so you'll see this in the right chronological order, but I actually forgot to film my final thoughts on Yours After You yesterday. So I'm not wearing the bikini 2 days in a row, it's just I was a bad YouTuber and forgot to get any clips other than the clips of the pages yesterday. So you will have seen I've updated you and filmed the video all across kind of like one day. But I did finish After You yesterday, and I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this book more than book 1, and I feel like because book 1's ending is obviously gut-wrenching, and if you've read the book, seen the film, or just know anything about these books, you know what's coming, so you're kind of reading to the inevitable, and that sometimes can be quite hard. Now, I have read this book before, and there were parts of it that were really coming back to me and me going, oh yeah, I remember that. But other than that, I don't remember a lot of the story. So I believe I've read this book and book 3, but I don't remember a lot about either of them. This book, obviously, if you've not read book 1, what I'll do is I'll put a timestamp on the screen here for you so you can skip forward, because although I'm going to try and keep both as spoiler free as possible, you kind of need to know the ending for me to discuss any more of After You. So I'm not going to spoil this book, but if you haven't read book 1 and you don't want any spoilers at all about what the ending entails, then maybe skip forward to this time. So now that everyone's skipped forward, obviously if you know book 1, you know how it ends, and in discussing book 2, you're following a lot about grief. That is a big plot point in this. It's about Lou grieving like Will from book 1 and moving on, and it's kind of a good depiction on how you can try and move on, but then grief holds you back in weird and mysterious ways. I really enjoyed that depiction. I thought that the characters that she met and how she met them was really interesting. I liked obviously the new kind of problem character as such, the character that created the dynamics, and obviously Lou has a very fix them mentality, and so I liked the character that created the problem and the issue against that. I also liked the resistance of new jobs and finding your feet after such a significant life event has happened. I will also say I really enjoyed the ending of this book, and I'm intrigued to go into book 3 to see how that develops, because if you've read it you'll understand what I mean, but there's a big change happening again for Lou, and seeing how she navigates that will be really, really interesting. But in the end I gave this one 4 stars. I did, like I say, I did really enjoy kind of the story, the premise. I liked their desire to show Will in a positive light, because in book 1 obviously you saw him as quite a grumpy man. And yeah, I enjoyed all those aspects, but I'm gonna carry on with day 2 now and try and get those pages down. Good morning guys, it is now day 2 of the random number generator challenge, and today our page numbers is 250, which my mum chose. So as I've said before, obviously I'm just going to go down in the order that my family have chosen the numbers, so it kind of is a little bit more random, because on some days if I'm busy then it's going to be more of a challenge than on others. As you saw last night, I reached 157 of yours truly, and then for the pages today I am going to need to finish yours truly and then read 7 pages of another book. Now I have got quite a busy day today, so I might opt to audiobook a bit more, and if that's the case then I've got Maidens of the Cave on audiobook as well as on my Kindle, so I need to finish that one off. I might only read a bit of yours truly and then see where I need to get to of Maidens of the Cave on audiobook, as we are going out this afternoon / evening. But yours truly so far, so I think that means I'm about 37% of the way through yours truly. And if you've already seen my video from June about, it was either June or July, about reading, like a read with me, but then it was just kind of like a slumpy video and I didn't really read much. I started it in that, and you are following Brianna and Jacob, who are both doctors, and Jacob's just been transferred to Brianna's hospital. He suffers quite severely with anxiety. That anxiety representation in this book is absolutely incredible, and you can kind of see how the anxiety rules his life. And Brianna is going through a divorce, or has recently separated from her partner who's cheated on her, so they've both got kind of their own things. Brianna's got a sick brother as well who needs a transplant, and so she's managing that, and so we're kind of going through the story managing both those sides of things. Obviously they're both quite heavy topics and they're both battling with that, and so you're managing that, you're seeing how they're doing, and you are kind of hoping that Jacob can help Brianna out as much as possible, as well as Brianna help Jacob out in terms of settling into a new place and making friends. But 37% of the way through so far, I have highlighted so much because Jacob's anxiety rep reminds me of my own brain at times, so that is obviously sad but also really reassuring that that is kind of seen and heard and kind of represented in a positive light as well. So far I'm absolutely loving the story. I am curious to see how the rest of it goes now. Obviously I'm just under that 40% mark, so I'm curious to see if and what the third act conflict is going to be, and to see how Brianna kind of goes about meeting his family, because she's just about to go meet his family, as there is a slight fake dating trope as well. So far so good, really enjoying it, hoping to obviously finish it today. My family have all gone out this morning for breakfast and do it around the market, and it's just not something I'm interested in. So I'm staying back. I'm going to try and get as much reading done as I can while they're not here to distract me. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys later. Good morning, guys. My hair looks a bit crazy, but I've literally just woken up. So last night you saw that I reached my pages. I then did carry on and finished the chapter. So I got to page 92 of Maidens of the Cave. Today it's my brother's page number, and that's 222. So that means I need to read to page 314. And actually is the start of a chapter. So that means I'll need to go from chapter 8, which I'm on now, to chapter 22. So I'm going to get into it, and hopefully I can get into the book. I'm not loving this book that much, so I'm wondering whether this might take me some time, and if I am struggling with that, then I might switch to Empowered, which is another book on my TBR for this month, or The Heart Principle. But again, I struggle with those books by Helen Wong, so I think maybe I'm going to try and carry on with Maidens of the Cave because I want to get it finished, as it's one that I'm obviously in the middle of. However, if I am struggling with like the page count, then I might switch to Empowered to try and see if that one's easier to read. Hello guys, so it is day 4 of the challenge. I am not sleeping in a bed like this. This is my spare bed, but I didn't reach my page yesterday, as you guys would have seen. I really struggled, and it got to the evening and I was like, no, I need to get to my pages, But then we were all playing like family games and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, I'm on holiday, I'm not going to force it. And also knowing today I only had 61 pages, I was like, I'll just add it on to tomorrow. So I've worked out that I was 52 pages off my page count, so I now need to read 113 pages today, which means I need to finish Maidens of the Cave, and then once I finish that, I've got about 16 pages I think that I need to read of another book. So I think I'm going to pick up Empowered by E.G. Barnum, and get into that one because I have that one, The Heart Principle, and Just for the Summer left on my TBR this month, which obviously I'm trying my hardest to finish. But Just for the Summer I want to actually enjoy while I'm on holiday, and I can do that obviously over the weekend and next week. And then The Heart Principle generally takes me slightly longer to read, so I'm gonna get into that when I've got a little bit more time and I'm not obviously stretched for pages like I will be tomorrow, because tomorrow I've got 221 pages to do. So obviously if I didn't reach 222, I'm gonna struggle with 221 if I'm not into the book. So I'm gonna get started on my pages and I will check in with you guys in a bit. Hi guys, so I'm jumping in as like editor Lauren because I never actually introed day 5. I literally just got clips of my pages for the day and I never went back and introed them or anything like that or spoke about it. So this is like a month later that I'm filming this. So from what I remember, obviously we were doing the random pages Monday to Friday. However, on the Friday I had a bit of a meh day, and so I didn't end up filming anything for this video, I believe, until the Monday. So I actually moved my day 5 to the Monday. It just meant meant that I could focus kind of on rather than stress reading. So for day 5 we've got 221 pages, and that was picked by Grace, which is my brother's girlfriend. What you guys didn't see is obviously within those days break I didn't actually end up reading anything in that time. I started Empowered, which is the last thing that you guys saw, and I read the pages that I needed to read for day 4, and I just wasn't really vibing with it. I have since finished that book and I actually really enjoyed it at the time that I picked it up, so I think maybe I was just reading too many like romance books back to back, which doesn't make sense because the next book I did pick up was a romance book, but I just feel like that type of romance, it was very heavily Grumpy Sunshine and it just wasn't right for me at the time, and I really wasn't vibing with it. So I'm gonna let you go through and see the b-roll that I got for the day, which was literally only a couple of clips of the pages, and then it can come back to me and we'll do our wrap up. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's been a bit bitty and probably not as high quality as I wanted. At the time of my holiday, I was having a really big like content. I was in my creative rut quite massively, and I had all these pages and I was like, I still want to use them and utilize them, and I feel like the best time I can film this is on holiday. So I'm hoping that that hasn't hindered it, but as you hopefully would have seen from the videos that have already gone up on my channel this month, I'm feeling so much better creatively now. So hopefully that does show, and that this video is not gonna ruin your experience on this channel. But let's wrap up from the books that we read in this video. So we started off the video with Having to Finish Off After You, which I ended up giving 4 stars. I don't necessarily feel like the story needed a continuation. I think Me Before You was a very good story as is, and I feel like that's probably why we don't have a film for books 2 and 3. Books 2 and 3 were not necessary. I feel like book 2 is a very good depiction of grief, and book 3, which spoiler I have now read, I preferred book 3 to book 2 just because book 2 very much focused on grief and kind of the bad times, whereas book 3 had a very different feel and it was based in a different city. So I really loved that. But yeah, 4 stars for this book. I do feel like it was a good story, a good depiction of the story. However, I don't necessarily feel like it was needed for book 1 to make any sense. We then moved on to read Yours Truly, which I have no words for that book. I still absolutely love that book, and I love Jacob, and the representation for anxiety in there was just incredible. So absolutely 5 stars. I think going to be one of my favourite books that I've read this year. We then moved on to read Maidens of the Cave, which I ended up giving 3 stars. I think it was an okay book. I did enjoy it, but I wasn't really vibing with it, and I definitely found reading it under the challenge proved a struggle because I felt forced to read it, and when you're not really feeling a book like that, it's so hard to kind of push yourself through and force yourself read a story that you're not really into, and I feel like that just fell victim to this. However, it was an okay book. Was it necessary series sequel to read from book 1? No. Am I happy that I read it? Yeah, because I've ticked it off now on my series list. I don't think Lloyd will be an author that I go back to. However, he is a very good like indie new author. Then we started Empowered, which I actually soft DNF'd. I have now finished it and absolutely loved it, gave it a 4 stars, but just at the time, at the moment, in that moment, it wasn't quite right, but I did want to try and finish it in August, so I did finish it when I got back from my holiday, and I did really enjoy it, and I've actually gone on to read book 2 now. So I do feel like it was just a kind of a complication of the time that I was reading it that meant that I didn't finish it. And then the last book that I read was Just for the Summer. Now, I haven't given any thoughts or feelings on this book as we've been reading it, because within the video I only got to halfway. I then finished the book literally the next day because it was just incredible. In this book you are following Justin and Emma. Now, I got the plot for this book wrong. I thought they were both the one before the one, and it was their exes, like they knew each other through their exes, but I feel like I've got 2 kind of story plot lines and mashed them together. So Justin and Emma both have this curse. Now, they say this loosely. They've both got a curse of they are the last person that they date, or their ex goes and finds their person, their one. Justin knew this because his ex then got with his best friend, and him and his ex and his best friend were like really happy, and Emma's ex has done the same. So they both feel like they have this curse where they're the one before the one. However, Emma has got quite a lot of family issues going on. Abby Jimenez never writes just a bog standard romance. It's always got some sort of stronger undertones, and so Emma has some family issues happening within in the book, that really does play a massive part on her belief in love and in romance, and that shows in her kind of relationships and how she deals with the relationship. Justin as well is just really trying to come to terms with figuring out the being the one before the one, and it's kind of boy fall first. She's really trying to stop her feelings and stop her emotions and trying to like part ways with that thought process. But I did love it. I ended up giving this one 5 stars, and I do feel like this and yours truly were just incredible. I'm so on the fence about going back through and reading Abby Jimenez's backlist because I've heard mixed things. I've heard that her writing gets better with time, and I didn't love Part of Your World. I thought it was a good book, but I didn't love it. So I'm kind of not sure whether I want to go back and read her first series when I didn't love the first book of this series as much. I'll see. When next year when I get my series down and I've got a bit more time, then I might go back through and read them. But so far, loved it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm sorry it's been a bit bitty and, like I say, not the best in my opinion. I hope we're back to regular kind of format now. Comment down below what your favourite summer read was, because I read these on holiday and just it gave such a good vibe to the holiday. So comment down below your favourite summer read, and I will speak to you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.